The Lakers make a move. They acquire Luke Kennard from the Atlanta Hawks. We'll tell you why that makes them better, potentially on both sides of the ball. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter where you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple, whether that's Spotify. Maybe you're one of the 37,000 plus subscribers to the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel. No matter how you're doing it, you're part of making the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network in this or any other known universe. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, a long time covering the Lakers, nearly 20 years with ESPN, the LA Times, the Athletic. And over that time, Andy, we have seen many shooters come to the Lakers. Often they forget how to shoot, but the Lakers have tried to fix that problem as much as they can with the acquisition they made on trade deadline day, Thursday morning. They acquire Luke Kennard from the Atlanta Hawks for a second-round pick and Gabe Vincent. And Luke Kennard, he's got some flaws as a player, but you can't complain about the shooting. He is quite literally leading the NBA in three-point percentage, 49.3% this year. He hasn't been under 40% for a season since I believe the 1920 season.
In nine seasons,
39.9%.
In 9 seasons in the NBA, Luke Kennard has shot below 40% twice.
Right, and one of them was 39%, 39.9. I believe the other one was 39.7.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, those are the only seasons in the NBA. He's never been below 39%. This year, he is on relatively low volume, the 49.7%. He's shooting 3.2 threes per game. He averages 4 and change for his career, but he's had seasons where he shoots 5, 6 plus threes per game at that same clip. He is
his volume is based entirely on how much he's playing in any given season. He is as legitimate a shooter as you're going to find.
He is a knockdown, established gravity. You have to guard him. You will notice him if he's open shooter. Period.
Right. Has decent secondary skills. He's not an awful rebounder for his size on a per minute basis. He's actually a pretty decent ball mover. He will make the right pass and certainly won't gum up the works with the Lakers. He is the type of player that I think JJ Redick will really enjoy weaving into his defense. Why, or is his offense? Why was he available then for a second round pick in the expiring Gabe Vincent? Well, for a couple reasons. First, Atlanta has acquired Corey Kispert and the Trae Young deal, who is a younger, a little bit better and an even more handsome version of Luke Kennard. And they Wednesday in the Jonathan Kuminga, Kristaps Porzingis deal acquired Buddy Hield, who is a more Bahamian version of Luke Kennard. They had 3 Kennards, one could afford to go. And also, and this is the part that I think a lot of people will focus on, Andy, he's not a good defender. No, Kennard is very weak on that side of the ball.
Although, for that matter, neither were Buddy Hield or Corey Kispert.
Kispert's a little better, but you're right. None of those guys are that good.
No.
And but that is why somebody who shoots at the level that Kennard does is available for the expiring contract of Gabe Vincent and a second round pick. A couple little housekeeping notes. Kennard is himself an expiring contract, so the Lakers have not eaten into any of their flexibility for this summer, but will give themselves an opportunity to hold on to somebody like Kennard if he fits in really well, which I actually think he could. Certainly fills a bigger need than Gabe Vincent does. And they also save themselves about $500,000, which could come in handy when buyout season comes, because it puts the Lakers a little further away from the apron. All right, so all of that housekeeping aside, let's get into the acquisition of Luke Kennard. Your thoughts, Andy?
I think it's a really good piece of business for the Lakers. Gabe Vincent was going to be, in all likelihood, out of the rotation once Austin Reeves started getting back up to his normal 35 or so minutes per game. It had been trending in that direction anyway, for all of the jokes and complaints from Lakers fans and even Lakers media about Gabe Vincent being JJ's favorite, him talking about how he would love to coach an entire team of Gabe Vincent's, presumably a team where you're not that concerned about winning, but it's an enjoyable coaching experience. Like, Gabe's minutes had actually gone down during the period without Austin Reeves. And that is a period where if Gabe was going to be a part of the rotation moving forward, his minutes would have gone up. The writing had been on the wall. We had talked about that earlier this week before, when Austin returned, before we even knew Gabe was going to be traded. Luke Kennard gives them desperately needed shooting. They had one catch and shoot option on this team that you would really care about at all in Rui, as far as the non-stars go. Like, LeBron, Luka, and Austin always have gravity just because of who they are. But as far as the role players, they had one established three-point shooter in Rui. They now have two. Luke Kennard can help juice a second unit that really needs scoring up, really needs some type of productivity and punch. As you mentioned before, Kennard doesn't get in the way at all, at least automatically, of what everyone seems to believe are the Lakers' offseason plans and approach. Regardless of what you think of that plan or approach, it does not get in the way of it at all. As far as the defensive concerns with Luke Kennard, because they're real, the defense is going to be dicey with or without Luke Kennard. Like, in a lot of ways, he's a seamless fit. You can put him right on the floor and he doesn't change a damn bit along those lines. But also, too, and I think this is what you were implying in the introduction, one of the ways to try to get the best sum of their parts defensively with a roster that has defensive flaws any way you slice it is to create the most proficient offense. Luke Kennard can be a part of that.
If you're a team that is taking a lot of three-pointers, and then the Lakers don't necessarily, their three-point volume is in the bottom third of the league, or right on the fringe of the bottom third of the league at the very least, and you are missing them, and that the Lakers are deeply in the bottom third of the league in terms of three-point makes. That is a lot of long rebounds. That is a lot of transition opportunities for the opposition. You know, you want teams to take the ball out of their own basket, and the Lakers have had too many games this year where they are fighting an uphill battle, where, you know, they're being outshot from 3-point range, you know, by a factor of 2 or 3, and it's just it's not a way to run a rodeo. And so, you know, Kennard, I think, will settle into the role that he's basically played throughout his career, which is a 20 to 25 a minute guy. I think that's about where he'll be with this group. You know, maybe a little less on some
I would
nights.
think a little bit less, but we'll see.
It wouldn't shock me if occasionally it was a little bit more, just depending on, you know, if the defensive integrity holds up and the fit as a floor spacer around Luka is good. I can see this going in a lot of different ways. But, like, you know, when you have a Luka Doncic centered offense, you need a couple things to make it run ideally. One is an athletic center.
He's averaged, just really quickly for his career, he's averaged 23 minutes a game. So
right. It's between 20 and 25 minutes. So
I know, but that includes a couple seasons where he's been, I would expect probably closer to like 18 to 22. And I mean, the only reason it matters is just you're talking about a potentially more crowded rotation, because Gabe Vincent was going to be out of the rotation, both of us think. I don't think Luke Kennard equals taking somebody out of this rotation.
Well,
that's
see.
the only reason I'm bringing it up.
I think there's a lot of different ways that they could look to slice this depending on what kinds of lineups they're playing. But again, if he plays 18 to 22, it's in that general vicinity of 20 to 25. But either way, you know, you need a couple things. You need a center who can play the pick and roll and ideally get above the rim, and you need spacing. You need outside shooters, and that is what the Lakers have acquired here. So it is about as good as they could do, given the sort of the self-imposed restrictions that they have, and then The non-self-imposed, the fact they didn't have a lot to deal. This was the only second-round pick the Lakers had the capacity to trade. Like we saw, for example, Aya Dosunmu get moved to Minnesota Thursday morning as well. Great pickup for the Timberwolves. That cost them Rob Dillingham, their first-round pick, I believe, last year, and 4 second-rounders. So
and Leonard Miller.
So like the Lakers didn't have nearly, they don't have a Rob Dillingham to trade, and they didn't have the second rounders either.
Right.
So all in all, like you say, this was a really nice piece.
It reinforces really it reinforces really quickly something you and I both said. The Lakers were not in a position to make seriously impactful moves for this season, like to try to put them closer to the inner circle contention. This team is generously more than one player away from that, and the Lakers do not have close to enough assets to make multiple moves of that caliber. And frankly, they should be prioritizing the larger picture with Luka ahead of this season, this year's playoff run, whatever. And it's not even close.
Yeah. So, and I like the small little perks of now being able to, you have control over Kennard, who they might end up renouncing anyway. So we'll see what they want to do in the off season. But if it's a good fit, then you have an avenue to bringing him back and all of these other things. It is, and we don't have to get deep into it today, another reminder of how Dalton Connect has failed as a young draftee, and a few other things. But all in all, a solid move for the Lakers. I think it is probably unlikely that they do anything else between now and 12 o'clock Pacific time when the deadline is over. But obviously, if they do, we will be here to recap it. Before we go, though, Andy, we do need to tell people about this.
Well, that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Indeed. Hiring's not just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move. Instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job, listening to the people who fit your specific criteria, like skills, certifications, and location. If I was hiring, I wouldn't want just someone who can help. I'd want someone with real experience who can jump right into your projects. And with sponsored jobs, your posts get seen by candidates who do fit. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I have been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time interviewing candidates who check the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners to this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the guesswork or stress. So instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms and go through all your stuff and tick boxes, it's annoying. You can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online, and they'll handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. So just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointments today.
And finally, Locked On Lakers brought to you by FanDuel. It is settled. The last team standing in the NFL. We know the matchup. It's the Patriots versus the Seahawks. Super Bowl 60. FanDuel's making sure you are right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. And whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger than the last one. It is the perfect way to cap off the season and to make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5, $5, and you get $200 in bonus bets. If you win, make it count, because after the Super Bowl, season's over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
All right. We'll be back with any additional updates. A reminder, the Lakers are playing the Sixers tonight. No Jackson Hayes. He's out for shoving a mascot who I'm sure he knows what he did. The mascot, not Jackson. Yeah, we'll be back after the game to wrap it all up along with the deadline news.